Update 2.39 Dance of Dragons added the J-10A, the JF-17, satellite-guided bombs, and radar altimeter indication, among other things. But while new additions are always exciting, what I haven't seen people talk about are the buffs given to the missiles that are exclusive to the Iranian F-14A. This plane was available to grind through the Persian Tomcat event a few weeks ago, and it's currently selling on the market for around $70. Part of what makes it so interesting and so desirable are the unique weapons it gets access to that set it apart from the normal F-14A. These missiles are exclusive to the Persian F-14, and they're the driving factor causing many, including myself, to believe this plane is absolutely under-tiered at its current BR. And as of this update, those missiles just got even better. So let's take a look at what's different, and to understand the implications of what's going on here, we need to take a look at the two missiles in question. They are the Sedjil and the Fakour-90. Sedjil is an MIM-23 Hawk surface-to-air missile modified to be launched from the F-14 as an air-to-air missile. The plane can carry a maximum of 2 of these missiles under its wings. Sedjil is defined by its absurdly powerful rocket motor, 83.9 kilonewtons of thrust for 5 seconds, then a 12.4 kilonewton sustainer for 21 seconds, making it the most powerful rocket motor of any air-to-air missile and gives the Sedjil the highest delta V of any missile, even higher than the R-27ER and AIM-54 Phoenix. Sedjil is semi-active radar homing and actually has a copy-paste seeker from the AIM-7F and AIM-7M, which means you get no kind of data link whatsoever, unlike the radar R-27s. Fakour-90 is the missile designed to replace the AIM-54 Phoenix and is carried under the 4 fuselage hardpoints. Visually, it resembles the Phoenix, but it shares a lot of technology with the Sedjil. It has the same excellent rocket motor and the same warhead as the Sedjil, but it has the same active radar homing seeker as the AIM-54 Phoenix. It weighs about 12 kilograms more than the Sedjil. So what does this rocket motor mean for performance? Well, simply put, the Iran missiles go absolutely crazy in range and acceleration, basically keeping up with or outright beating the R-27ER in most of the situations I tested them in, especially once the ER's initial advantage dies down. And compared to the Phoenix, which falls off the rail and slowly claws its way up to speed, the Fakour leaps off the rail and retains its speed for a while. From a low-altitude launch towards a target 30 kilometers away flying around 700 kph, Sedjil is the first to hit, followed closely by the slightly heavier Fakour, then the ER, Phoenix, and finally Sparrow much later. Moving up to high altitude at 12,000 meters or 40,000 feet and a launch from 68 kilometers, it's more of the same, with the Sedjil and the Fakour simply dusting the competition. And even if I move further away and fire at a target that's below me to try to give the Phoenix more time to catch up, it simply doesn't get close. So now we get to the main event, which is the buff Gaijin gave these missiles in the update. Both the Fakour and the Sedjil were bumped from 15G to 20G of maneuverability. More importantly, Fakour gained a fin AOA increase of 15% from a value of 0.212 to 0.244, and Sedjil gained an increase of 108% from a value of 0.087 to a value of 0.181. Both missiles also got increases to their fins' lateral acceleration. In layman's terms, these missiles gained more aggressive fins that can help them pull harder across all speed ranges, and if there's anything you should know about missiles in War Thunder, it's that there are a lot more factors that affect agility than their max G limit. So let's take a look at what's different. Using CDK testing, you can see how the Fakour is able to turn sharper off the rail than it used to, and it's just more agile across the board. The Phoenix is still able to turn sharper on account of how slow it is, but it's also easy to dodge because of that in this scenario, for the same reason the R511 is easy to dodge. The Phoenix simply cannot access all of its maneuverability unless it's carrying a lot of speed, in which case the Fakour can probably outmaneuver it anyway with its 4 extra G, which it can and will make full use of with its rocket motor. I haven't done any real-world testing, but I can say anecdotally, I feel like the Fakours are scarier than Phoenixes in most situations, and are going to be more difficult to evade by simply outpulling. But the Sedjil was the even bigger winner this update. Previously, it just kind of flew straight like a dart, but now it can actually change direction to a meaningful degree. It's still not as maneuverable as the medium-range Fox ones, and it's still garbage at close range on account of the fuse time, but now it's something you will have to pay attention to and probably either notch or multipath instead of just outpulling. I did some testing before and after the update, and while I was able to effortlessly evade it just about every single time before the update, after the update I was having a really hard time getting out of the enormous fuse range. So my takeaway is that the Sedjil and the Fakour are mildly terrifying now, and if you aren't paying attention, they leave very little time to react. This weapons kit is kind of absurdly powerful for just picking off randoms in the 16v16 chaos, and I think the Iranian Tomcat needs to go up in BR by yesterday. It's an absolute menace now, and if you own it, you need to take it out again. That brings me to my last topic, which is whether or not the Phoenix is gimped in War Thunder. I've seen a lot of people say it should go up to 25G with bank to turn using combined plane maneuverability. What does that mean, you ask? Well, missiles with 2 sets of fins can pull a certain amount using each set of fins. For example, with the Phoenix, that's 16G single plane maneuverability. However, if the missile pulls at a 45-degree angle, it can use both sets of fins to dig in and pull even harder, about 25G in the case of the Phoenix. War Thunder currently does not model combined plane agility, presumably because the majority of missiles are roll stabilized, meaning they don't roll in flight and would suddenly start pulling more or less depending on the aspect of the target. Keeping things single plane keeps the game simpler and more consistent, which is understandable. However, the argument for the AIM-54C as well as the Magic II and I think a few other missiles is that the missile's guidance is able to roll the missile towards the target first before using both sets of fins to always take advantage of the higher overload. I couldn't find any actual documents stating that the Phoenix had this capability in real life, but a tech mod implied that Gaijin had considered it and said no. The other can of worms I don't know much about and don't want to get into is the lack of a smokeless motor. From what I've been told, the Phoenix we have in-game is a historical configuration, but I know a variant with a reduced smoke motor is commonly requested. So basically my stance is that I'm not entirely convinced the AIM-54C is underperforming, but it wouldn't surprise me if it is, at least a little bit. At the very least, I think they could give it some more fin AOA so it actually starts hitting 16G more often. Discussions about missiles, especially regarding their implementation relative to real-life performance, usually devolve into an autism contest, which is why I'm not spending hundreds of hours digging for documents or making definitive claims about any of this stuff. Ultimately, this is a video game and Gaijin does whatever they want. What I will say for now is that the F-14A Iriaf is absolutely nuts at the moment, and if you have access to it, it honestly might be the most fun jet of the patch for the time being. I'm not much of a tinfoil hat enjoyer, but I do find it curious they're making an already desirable and expensive jet even more desirable. If you found this video interesting, consider leaving a like, come hang out on Discord, and thanks for watching.